Hi, everyone. This is the first episode of the Been There, Done That podcast with me, your host, Ben Puchitao. I have to be honest, I don't know what the F I'm doing, but I'm here and I showed up and I jotted some notes down, so we're just gonna go off of that. So I'm gonna need all of you guys to just go with the flow. And while we go through this wild journey of what I'm about to talk about, we're gonna laugh. We're probably gonna cry. There's always a lot of the two. And so this is gonna be fun. You guys are gonna get very used to this segment. But the opening segment that we're gonna have, first thing, is how have ya been? Everything's gonna be centered around me. This is the only time I can ever really lean into being a narcissist and having everything centered around your boy. So, how have I been? You guys, things have been wild and up and down. What did I recently just do? Last week, I had Sisters Giving with all of my sisters on Saturday. Not to mention, this is a flex because everybody that I know, all the women in my life can throw it down in the kitchen. You guys can't see her, but I have Siapa here. Siapa's a baker. Siapa can bake. I want you to tell me somebody who can do 25 dozen cupcakes in one day. And when you can, tell them that I don't care for them because I have my own person. But my sisters can toss it up. What did I have? My sister Cassidy made some bomb mac and cheese. I just had all the regular schmegulars, you know? A good classic Thanksgiving meal really does it for me. How it looks in the bathroom is a different story, and it's truly World War III, but that's okay, because I enjoyed myself eating it. I can't throw down in the kitchen. I let everyone else cook, and I'll clean the plate. I had to push myself to actually cook this time, and my kitchen truly looks like the scene out of Hocus Pocus when that black candle is lit. It's scary. It's a whirlwind of just hot mess. I used 4 pans just to heat up heavy whipping cream, and that should never be a thing, but I did it. And so then I threw everything away and I hopped on TikTok and I just put in simple potato recipes for dinner. And funeral potatoes came up and it took me 5 minutes to put it together and pop it in the oven. I took it to Sisters Giving and everyone was like, oh my gosh, this is so delicious. And I'm like, yeah, you guys, I did it from scratch. Nothing was from scratch. I scratched my head trying to figure out how I was gonna even make this be edible. But it was good, so I heard. Potatoes, I made mashed potatoes. What a mess. I didn't know you could screw up potatoes, but at one point in time in that pot, it looked like slime, and I was about to take it out and play with it on the floor, but I didn't, and so I threw that away. Made a second batch. Second batch was fine, but my smoke alarms went off, and I had to take them all off of the wall and take the battery out because I was scared that people would know that I suck at cooking. So, tossed smoke detectors into the garbage, slime potatoes into the garbage, heavy whipping cream curdled, that somehow ended up in the garbage. Next time, I just need you guys to know to never ask me to be behind the stove. Yes, I will be in line for food and I will be at the table to eat. I can't provide anything else but my appetite, so call it. Next, what else have I been up to? Oh, you guys, I need everyone in here to listen up. A foot-long chocolate chip cookie from Subway. Has anyone tried it? Any of you? Both of you? You haven't experienced actual life until you take your first bite into a foot-long cookie. It is actual fire. I actually learned some things about that cookie. This footlong cookie is literally $5. It's equivalent to 6 regular Subway chocolate chip cookies. So the calorie count is high, 1,300 to 1,400 calories. And let me tell you what, for the last 2 months, I've had a footlong every single week, and I have no regrets. Yes, am I a bit bigger than where I was 2 months ago? Yes, but it's happy weight. People get happy weight in marriage. I get happy weight with a footlong chocolate chip cookie. It has actually rocked my world, and I will never have a cookie from anybody else ever again. I'm so sorry to my mother. I will not. I don't care what you pull out of that oven. It's not going in my mouth. I'm saving it specifically for that footlong that is served, keep in mind, warm, and it's extremely ooey gooey. I can't even explain it. It's just like my mouth hurts talking about it because it's not even here. It's the best. The fact that it's only $5, I've done worse things for $5. And this has to be the best choice I've ever made, is that. So Subway, if you're listening and you're watching, this is your opportunity to sponsor somebody who needs a cookie every single week at the expense of my health. So figure it out and get me sponsored. What else? What else can I talk to you guys about? What have I been up to? Oh, let me tell you guys this wild experience. I dabble in the devil's work. He's a little night angel. I can't expand too much on what that is, but just I want you guys to know that I am in the streets and sometimes in other people's sheets, but I'm retired. I have to give it up and I have to let it go. But this experience wraps up why I'm letting it go. I had somebody from the roster hit me up the other day, and I'm gonna have to read you guys the text thread. This is not even exaggerating to you guys. Let me just read it to you. I don't know if you guys can see, and I'm not gonna really show you guys, but his contact name is 62 Dreads, because I don't validate men by their names if they don't validate me and my experience of life. So 62 Dreads hits me up the other day. This is the full text conversation, you guys. GM is good morning. GM, I text hi. He texts WYD. I texted NMU question mark. He says work. I literally just sent him period. Literally just sent a period. He said, what? WUT. You can't even give me the luxury of spelling out the whole entire word. You just did WUT. Great. That's the communication level I'm on. So I'm gonna code switch. I'll match your level. So then I changed it and I said period. He said, oh, bet. WYDTN. What are you doing tonight? At this point, we're speaking in Morse code. I am literally talking to you off of the alphabet. And I just want to say this to preface. If you have some sort of grammatical impairment or you are some form of, is it even okay to say dyslexic? If you fall on that spectrum, I just need you to say something, because at this point it's just disrespectful, it's rude. You're texting me in code. I don't even know what you're saying. Then he asks me that and I said busy. He said with what? W space WUT. At this point, I can snap my phone in half. I said stuff. He said what stuff? I said fam. He said, oh, FS. Oh, for sure. I'm about to literally go berserk. And I can't even fathom the rage, you guys. I texted Y, the letter Y. He said, UKY, you know why. I said, bye. So then he said, FaceTime you tonight, FTUTN. I said, it'll cost. Then he Apple Cashed me $25. And then I blocked him. Because let me tell you what, that 5-minute conversation costed you $25. Why? Because you just took $25 away from me. I could have been at work hopping on an email responding to somebody. Instead, I was stealing company time to respond to you, and you wasted all of it. And I need you guys to know that if a man texts you in Morse code and he can't find the way to fully message full words, is this what we've come to as men? Are we just texting in letters? I just need, you know what? I don't even think I want to be gay anymore. I'm just gonna say it. My mom's wildest dreams of me going through the temple are about to come true soon, because this is where we've got to the quality of conversation with online dating. It's absolutely insane. And if you're a man who messages like this, I want you to throw yourself away and possibly find a bottomless pit that you can't come out of, because it's rude. Women, the gays and the girls are not for it. And I hope you know that. You guys need help. And if we need to throw some sort of grammar etiquette or like texting class, I will gladly do it. It'll cost more than $25, but I'll do it. You guys need to rally together in your group chats and figure out how this can be done. Because it makes me sick. In 2025, if you guys see me sealed in the temple, this is why. This was my 13th reason. I'm just done talking about it. It's making me sick. Next. What can I... Oh my gosh, you guys. I have to share something so special. I went to lunch yesterday with my mom. Just to give some context, my mom and I we've had a good relationship, but it's been horrible the last few years. My mom and I have only ever had 2 conversations about me being gay. The first conversation we had was when I was 19. That conversation sounded a lot like me telling her that she has to be okay with it and she needs to figure it out. And a lot of the response was just, it was very hard and very difficult. My mom is older. My mom is also a Tongan woman. And if you don't know, they have a very interesting way of communicating their emotions. My mom doesn't communicate her emotions, and that's okay. A lot of it has been hard for me to process because she just doesn't know how to convey how she feels about it. So she results into saying just really hurtful things, and they've become triggering over the years. And so I, as an adult, have never really sat down with her, and I've never had a one-on-one since then. I try to be mindful of my boundaries because I still love my mom. I feel like one thing to validate about the older generation and about parents is that they're learning how to figure all of these situations out with you. I could have easily cut my mom off, or I could have said good riddance, but that was the first experience my mom has ever had with dealing with something like that. So then I gave some grace because number 1, she deserves the opportunity to learn, and number 2, I still value her as my mother. And so things have been a little weird up until yesterday. I had the random prompting to text her if she wanted to go to lunch, and so she said yes. And so I picked her up. She was so happy. We sat down. Fast forward, I kind of just ended up talking about everything that's going on in my life. And I was kind of nervous of how she was going to respond because I was very casual with what I was talking about. I was talking about me and church and having some difficulties there, me and my relationship with God, having some problems there, just things that involve your typical gay boy. And at one point, she just was staring at me, and I stopped talking, and she was like, you know what? Can I just say that I am so proud of you, and I know that I haven't had the chance to tell you, but everything that you're doing, I'm so happy of. If you are happy, I'm happy. And literally blew my mind because I just have never had the opportunity to get on the same page with her until yesterday. And so she just kind of let me know and reassured me of how much she loves me. And that's all I needed. I feel like I really truly could care less about what anybody says until it comes down to my mom. When my mom can validate me and my mom can confirm that she loves me and she supports me, that's all I need to do whatever I want to. So I had a tender moment with her yesterday. She still had a little bit of her old self in that conversation. She was like, I know that being gay is a sickness and I hope you overcome it. And I'm like, Mom, being a homo is not having COVID. I don't understand where you're tying the two into, but it's not H1N1. You can't just take a vaccine for being a homo. But you know what? You're still doing good. You are doing great, and I love this for you. And we're gonna still work on it. If it takes another decade for you to actually convince yourself that I'm not, then so be it. But yeah, I had that experience with her, and she's not gonna watch this because my mom doesn't know how to operate social media. She doesn't even know how to operate her phone. Um, she has a dinosaur of a phone. I truly don't know how she does it. At one point, I felt like she was communicating to me with birds and a letter, and that's why birds are showing up at my door in the morning because she just doesn't know how to use a smart device. So, if my mom ever does see this, you're the best and I love you. She doesn't speak great English, so whoever's with her is gonna have to translate that to her. Yeah, you guys, that's where I've been. It's wild. And I feel like I'm doing a bunch of nothing and a bunch of a lot at the same time. I don't know what that's called, but it needs to get figured out because what I'm definitely not doing is being in the gym. And that's a whole nother conversation. I'm just gonna tell you guys one thing. This is horrible. But at one point in time, I was only going to the gym because of the men that were going at the same time. And that's so horrible to say, but let me tell you what, I cracked the code. This is what you do. You find the tightest shorty shorts you've got on. And let me tell you what, when you're built like me, any kind of pair of shorts is tighty tight around these curves. Find your tightest shorts, get going. Hit the gym at 5 a.m. I don't care what you're doing, but you better wake up and you better get there. Why? Because all of the bodybuilders are up and early. And at it. All of the guys who are yoked up top but got toothpicks for legs, they're there. And you gotta catch them at a good time because they're using they're lifting weights and they're not on that treadmill. So what am I doing? I'm on that treadmill, scoping out the scene. I'm scoping it out. I'm trying to catch when everybody is gonna be on the weights so I could find the machine next to them, or I'm catching them when they're going to the sauna. I wake up at 5 a.m. and let me tell you what, I feel like I'm all over the place. But going to the gym at 5 a.m., something in the back of my mind truly tells me that I'm better than the rest of the world. Why? Because while you're in a deep REM sleep cycle, I'm up. I'm ready. I brushed my teeth. I had a Celsius. I didn't have a Celsius that day. I actually had a Sprite. I had a Sprite because it was the closest thing next to me. I had a Sprite and I got to Vasa. I get to Vasa, I scope out the scene, and I'm on the hunt. Okay? I'm on the hunt. I'm doubling down. My Apple Watch is on. I've burnt 500 calories. 45 minutes have passed by, and I've seen some great things. I'm sitting in that sauna. Everyone's ripping their shirts off, and I'm like, hell yeah. This is how you start a Monday. This is why I'm better than everyone, because I'm sitting here with the big dogs, okay? I am here while you are just barely getting up with your morning breath, whipping up a cup of joe. So I don't want you to ever say anything about me, because that's where I am, and that's where you're at. And that's how you crack the code, you guys. That's how you crack down on finding somebody who can motivate you, because let me tell you what, I'm only going to the gym for that one thing. I'm not going for my health. I'm not going to exercise intentionally. I'm going for a dating opportunity. And did it ever work? No. Will it ever happen in the future? Absolutely not. I know that for a fact. But that's okay because I tried it and I did it and it was fun. And that's how I start my mornings, is with the big dogs. I don't even know where that was going, but it went there and that's fine. I'm actually going to talk to you guys about traveling. I am a West Valley City boy through and through. I don't care to go anywhere. I don't care to be far away. On my Find My iPhone, all of my family members are on there. They're all within a 5-mile radius from me. If I ever reach outside of that 5-mile proximity, I immediately start heaving. I have this anxiety deep in the pit of my stomach where I want to throw up and diarrhea at the same time. It makes me uncomfortable. I can't be far away from them. I need to know they're within a jog. I can jog to your house kind of thing in 2 minutes. So this trip was wild because I've never been to the East Coast. I can count on my one hand how many times I've traveled via aircraft. And every single experience was the absolute worst. And they're super mundane. Okay, these are domestic situations that I'm going through. They're pretty simple. But let me tell you what. The airport, it's not for me. I am going through 3 different types of security just to get me and my little carry-on onto the plane. I don't have guns. I don't have exotic fruits. Just get me to the plane. Why am I shuffling behind a man who smells horrible? He didn't get the memo that he was going to be in such a large public space. He forgot to slap on some Old Spice. So I'm standing behind him, breathing through my mouth, hoping that I don't get a whiff of whatever's going on. Somebody is rushing me. TSA is yelling at me. Why are you yelling? You are stressed out. Don't make me stressed out. I have literally a bag and slides on, and you're yapping and yelling at me to hurry up and put your stuff on the... Okay. I didn't know I signed up for the military, Sandra, at the Delta Salt Lake City security. You love your job, and I can tell. But you and I will never ever see eye to eye on things, because all I had to do was toss my stuff on that tray and let it go through the conveyor belt. Then we get to the horrible situation of the B gate. My airplane so happened to be at the very last terminal in B gate, B22, if any of you are familiar with Salt Lake City's airport. I don't want anybody to ever tell me that I don't know what the pioneers went through, because I know what they went through. I know what it's like to trek across the country, because I trekked all the way through B gate to my terminal. And it was the worst. At one point, I thought I had to chop my fingers off from frostbite and eat freaking dry biscuits in the middle of the freaking escalator, because it took me 5 hours just to get to where I needed to go. Something needs to be figured out with that. They tried to do, I think it was the first time they did the under... what is it? Like the under the bridge, whatever, with the blue ambient lights and the soothing music. I see what you guys are trying to do. If the mayor is listening to this, I see what you're trying to imply, that this is a soothing, this is a relaxing experience. No, the hell it's not. Okay, I'm literally sweating. I would be at the gym. It's as if I was in the gym with the big dogs in the sauna. I'm sweating, I'm heaving. I have to take my shirt off because it's too hot. Everybody behind me is like rushing, so I'm also having to rush. And then I'm seeing this old Barbara woman who's being guided on a wheelchair. I almost shoved her off so that I could sit on it, because we still had 7 miles left before we got up to the escalator to get to where I needed to be. It was the worst experience I've ever had. And whoever put that together, I hope you know that I wish you the absolute worst in your life. That's all I've got to say for putting me through that hell. And then we come down to the aircraft, to the airplane. I'm a large and in charge individual, okay? And I had to get a first class seat just so that I could have 3 inches of room for my legs. Because why am I sitting in a seat and my knees are up by my neck? It's too much. And you want me to be packed like a sardine for 3 hours? I could barely sit in a normal chair for 3 minutes, let alone sit here with who knows, strangers. I can't do it. I have to know somebody that I'm sitting next to so that I can feel comfortable enough to maneuver, to make subtle adjustments, because that's a long flight. I need to be able to breathe and move. I'm sitting here next to this fragile little woman, Barbara, who was on that wheelchair, sitting right next to me. My shoulder is eating up her whole entire seat. She's uncomfortable that this big Polynesian man has his whole forearm on her. It's crushing her collarbone. I'm so sorry, Barbara, if you're watching this. And then next to her is this beautiful pilot. I honestly wanted to ask her if I could switch seats, but I didn't, because it would have taken her and her oxygen tank 50 minutes to move over and adjust. So that's what the situation was. I was so uncomfortable. I had to ask for a seatbelt extender, but it's one of those like fat moments where you're like, I don't want to say it too loud because I don't want everyone to know that I'm a little insecure about my weight. So I was like, excuse me. And he was like, 1 moment. Walked by and I said, okay. 5 minutes passed by. I was like, excuse me. He said, 1 moment. I said, your 1 moment was now 2 moments. And then I asked him, I'm like, excuse me. And he's like, oh yes. And I'm like, can I have a seatbelt extender? He was like, oh, seatbelt extender. John, can we get a seatbelt extender for 24E? Literally almost floored myself into the bottom pit of the airplane. Now everyone knows that I'm this huge homo. Fat guy over here needs 3 seatbelt extenders. And now, thanks to you, I possibly am gonna open that exit seat and toss myself out of the door. How rude. And he knew what he was doing. I don't even know your name. But if I ever find you, you and I are on the same aircraft, we're gonna have some words. But the whole thing of traveling is not for me. If I can travel by bus or by train that so happens to have a bed, stove, and a mini fridge, please, I will go anywhere you want me to be. But if you want me to sit in economy or in basic for whoever knows how long just to get to where you are, I love you and I can send you a gift. I'm not coming. I'm not doing it. You should know better by now that you'll never catch me in an airport or on an airplane. So retire those thoughts. But yeah, you guys, the Salt Lake City airport is so beautiful though. I will say that. All that to say that we have a great airport. It's clean. It smells great. Everybody is so nice except for the one guy, flight attendant who was on my airplane. I got to some pretty rough airports, and let me tell you what. We are President Snow's beautiful home in Hunger Games, and everyone else is District 12. And so traveling through the airport and through an airplane, I've been there. I've done that. Horrible men who can't seem to figure out texting etiquette. I've been there. I've done that. Sisters Giving, been there, done that. And that Subway Footlong Cookie, I have been there and I've done that, and I will be there again, and I will do it so many times after this. So yeah, you guys, this was the first episode. I hope you guys enjoyed. There's gonna be a lot of this coming up, and I hope that you guys are buckled in. A lot of you guys are middle-aged women with multiple kids or second divorces, and that makes me happy. So if you're tuning into this at home while your kid is watching Coco Melon, I love you and I support you, and I would love for you to invite me over. But yeah, you guys, I will see you guys on the next episode. Yay!